welcome to Burning Barrel Podcast. I'm not going to say a date.
That's not true.
What? What are we calling
Pixel
it?
Response, remember?
Welcome to the Pixel Response Barrel.
Yeah.
Wait, so is Burning Barrel still going on, but that's Hank in your show?
It is, but we haven't done one in a while, and I feel super bad about that.
All right, sorry. This is the Pixel Response Podcast on the Burning Barrel network of podcasts.
Sure.
Brought to you by
Squarespace
and Spaghetti. We're not affiliated with Squarespace.
Right.
I was actually thinking we could be one of the few podcasts that like talks mad mess about Audible. Like,
right.
Oh, it's a shitty service.
Yeah.
Don't even bother. Man, Squarespace.
It's like,
yeah,
hey,
if you want to build a joke website,
you like
for
shitty
babies.
audio quality.
Yeah.
Go to audible.com and use the promo code Pixel Response.
No, there isn't one because we wouldn't dare. Anyway, whatever. Yeah. And then, but those are the only people that ever sponsor podcasts. So when we...
Casper mattresses.
Yeah.
Have you... Okay, actually...
So if we ever make it...
Apparently we are going to talk about
sponsorships.
work a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Have you noticed that there's, like, been a thing where trucks, all, like, big semi-trucks now, just have, like, Casper ads on them?
I have not noticed that.
Okay, so, like, specifically
I mean,
Marshall Trucking had, like, 2 trucks that are... And there was 2 trucks from other companies just parked there today.
Like giant decals on the side of the truck, or
the
just
whole
little
truck.
stickers?
No, the
weird.
whole truck.
Okay.
Except for like where their cab is, it still says like what company they are.
So they're also delivering Casper mattresses. Apparently?
Yeah, if you use a promo code Calgary, I think you
Really?
get 10% off your first mattress.
Okay. Well, there you go. That doesn't help us at all, but you might get a better sleep, so it might help you and Marshall Trucking.
Yeah.
Which I will not express any opinions about them.
I mean, we could talk about them after.
Well, whatever. I don't encounter them much anyway because I'm there on the weekends, so a lot of the inbound business has already happened.
Right.
So yeah, but there you go. Mattresses, podcast sponsors, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't have those. We're just old fashioned. You know?
Right.
We're a radio ad. We advertise for cigarettes and whiskey. I'm just joking. 1940s radio plays. Yeah.
Yeah. I like radio plays. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Anyways.
Yeah, on to more contemporary matters, I suppose. Not all of them, but some of them. So, the most recent Marvel feature film is Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Came out on November 4th, made a decent barrel of money. What is your familiarity with the character Stephen Strange and his wizarding powers?
He was in a few episodes of, was it Spider-Man in the 90s, or was it X-Men? He was in a few episodes with a story arc that was going on. I think it was Spider-Man.
Either, but okay.
I think a few anyway.
Okay.
So he was in that. I read a couple of his comics, but they weren't like origin comics, so I didn't really know what the fuck was going on.
Okay. This movie, I guess, is an origin story for the most part.
Right,
It kind of just establishes he's this ace surgeon, but he's kind of a dick. He's played by Benedict Cumberbatch. Anyway, Sherlock Holmes. Maybe you've heard of. Yeah. He was also Khan in my least favorite Star Trek film. Maybe of all of them. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't really ranked them.
So I did watch that new Star Trek.
The newest Star Trek?
And I fell asleep in it.
Oh man, I wasn't even trying to do that. I was talking about Star Trek Into Darkness. But okay, we can come back.
No, I'm just saying that I fell asleep
Star Trek
in
Beyond
it.
bored you to sleep, apparently.
It was pretty slow feeling for a lot of it.
I found it was kind of just a dopey action film. So I found it kind of fast-paced but stupid, but kind of fun.
There's dumb shit in it.
Yeah. There was a scene or two that I felt was kind of too chaotic, but I was watching it in 3D, like in a theater. So specifically, there's a scene where the crashed Enterprise is like falling apart while they're in it, fighting and jumping around and stuff. And I was just like, I don't know at all what's happening right now. Like I get the sense that like essentially what's happening is we're in a giant thing that is falling, which should be cool, but I can't really appreciate it right now. So I don't know. And then, there's just, like, mad chases in crazy upside-down city and trying to stop Idris Elba and whatever. Like, there's...
Yeah.
I don't know. It was not my favorite, but I found it less, like, egregious, offensive despicable than Star Trek Into Darkness, which the thing with that is it's essentially like quietly a copy paste of Star Trek 2's screenplay. Right. At a point, they just kind of start doing Star Trek 2 stuff, but like backwards. And I just was so mad. Okay. Whereas this is like, this isn't great, but this is an original story. There's like kind of a almost like Bermuda Triangle nebula where all these ships have crashed and like this kind of sadistic captain is luring ships to their doom and all this stuff for his own revenge scheme and whatever. It's at least like, well, this character has not been here before, so at least it's sort of original. I don't know. Simon Pegg co-wrote it and everything. Sure. But you fell asleep at what part? Like, did you even see the crazy chase I was talking about, or
the what?
There's like a chase to get like this floating energy thing in this kind of space station city that wraps around. It's like I don't know. It's kind of a neat looking city. It's early in the movie too, but it's like
I fell asleep.
Skyscrapers upside down. And
I fell asleep when they crash land onto the planet and meet that like chick.
Yeah, the pale lady with the goo.
From there until where they like save like their crew.
Okay, with the dirt bikes and everything.
Yeah.
So you missed everything between that. But so you were awake for the climax then.
I was awake. I was awake for like every action part.
Okay.
I would assume.
Okay, so that kind of in between part when they're kind of
chatting.
Yeah. So establishing why all the ships are crashing there and who the dude was and all that kind of stuff. Great. Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever. For me, it was not a stellar movie. It was just kind of, we were at the mall. It was raining. Hey, let's check out a movie. Oh, this was fine. So I generally have positive feelings for it, but yeah, it was nothing. I guess I think I feel a little more positively about Doctor Strange, but it was also in this category of like, yeah, it was fine. Like that was reasonably entertaining.
How do you feel about Marvel in general? The movies.
I've kind of been hot and cold depending. Yeah. I kind of cooled down a lot around the first Avengers coming out. I just didn't have the magical time a lot of people did.
Well, I mean, Avengers 2 was actually bad.
Avengers 2 was kind of stupid, but that's the thing. I was like warming up again at that point because I liked Ant-Man and Guardians. So it's just kind of, it's been oscillating a bit. It's like, I didn't really like Thor, so I didn't even see Thor 2.
I didn't see Thor 2.
Yeah.
I liked Thor.
I didn't really
because
like
it just felt different.
I guess it's like weird fantasy, like giant ice giants and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I mean, I think the big problem with all of them, and this is probably just like a problem with Marvel in general, is that all their stories are about an outsider feeling like an outsider and then being a hero. Every single one of them, for different reasons. So, in Thor, it's because he's a god on Earth. In Ant-Man, it's because he's like a criminal trying to do like the right thing now, right? Or whatever.
A Cap is out of time, like he was from the 40s. Or
They're
whatever.
all fish out of water that like...
I mean, in the first movie, he's mostly fighting in the 40s. But I guess he's a weak, scrawny dude.
I really like that.
I like the tone of that one more than the next two movies, because like it lost some sense of fun or something. It became a little too... politically interested in a way that's like, this universe is kind of too dopey for the tone.
Totally.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I might have expressed that before, but yeah, the Cap movies are kind of this weirdly self-serious strain that's happening right now that I'm not sure is my favorite.
Yeah.
I think Guardians is my favorite for that tone because
Guardians is just goofy.
Yeah, that's it's like, this is almost Spaceballs, and I love that, you know?
Like, well, I mean,
it's dumb.
Guardians is like a comic book movie. Like, it feels like you're just like reading a comic book, and then there's like the weird shit every time you flip the page. There's a bunch of panels, but then you flip the page and then something else is happening. That's
just some zany, huge scale space nonsense. I don't know. It's being set in outer space helps a lot. A talking raccoon helps a lot. Like, there's little bonuses there.
Vin Diesel as Groot helps a lot.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Actually, that's the thing. That there was a kind of a comparison that I'll try to pull off here. I appreciate the audaciousness of like just finding drama in weird places. So like the thing I want to compare it to is there's a scene in Metal Gear Solid 2 where a man is having an earnest conversation with a parrot and like learning information from this parrot and like breaking up and getting really sad. And it's just like, wow, that is such a stupid thing to try. I applaud the effort.
The parrot says, "I love you, Hal."
Yeah, it does. And it's good. Not to that level, but Guardians of the Galaxy has a scene where a raccoon is talking to a tree and like starting to well up at this key moment, and like this self-sacrifice is about to happen, all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, I love what's happening right now.
And the tree's just like, "I am Groot."
Yeah. No, it says, "We are Groot." And it's like, oh man, it's so amazing. It shouldn't be, because it's so dumb, but it's so good. It's great.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Doctor Strange does not hit those highs for me. It's sort of cosmic as well. Like, it's kind of big scale in a way that's kind of like Guardians, I suppose, but it's all set on Earth. But there's, multiple dimensions and all this kind of stuff, the astral plane and all this kind of stuff. It's expanding kind of some of the possibilities of what can take place in the Marvel Universe. Right. And there's some cool visuals to it that are pretty distinct. Like, I would describe a lot of it as kaleidoscopic. Like, it's just like you're looking at a building and then there's 4 of them now and they're like revolving, and there's like cities upside down and kind of almost MC Escher type stuff happening at times. And it's a lot happening on the screen. Like,
that's why I want to see it in theaters. That's the only reason.
It has some like good big screen spectacle moments in it. Like, almost too much happening at times where I was like, I know there's a chase going on and like I'm losing track of like everything that's happening, but the basic stuff that's going on, you're still following. Like, you're like, okay, Mads Mikkelsen's running up there. Like, Strange is running underneath him somehow. And then there's all these cronies on the sides parkouring all over the place and all this nonsense going on. And there's 4 buildings and maybe 4 of them at some times or whatever. It's weird.
Yeah.
But it was generally a fun time. I still wouldn't, there wasn't any like super highs for me though. Like, I left kind of being like, that was okay. Stay through the credits, I guess, if you're seeing it, just because there's not one but 2 teasers and they're both okay.
But I mean, couldn't I just go on YouTube like right now and see them?
I don't know. Like, are people camming that stuff?
I have no idea.
Okay,
maybe.
Like, once it's out on home video, I assume that would be there. But you've already paid for your ticket, you might as well. Yeah. And the score's okay. Like, I don't know. I don't really understand. I'm usually the guy sitting in the theater at the end, no matter what it is.
I just usually want to go home.
Okay.
I don't like just sitting in a theater.
I love sitting in.
I hate it.
All right, well, so don't then. I don't know. I guess also on the Marvel tack, I finally actually watched Deadpool. I hadn't seen it before.
Oh, okay.
That was just a Netflix thing.
Let's talk about that then.
Yeah. So it's an X-Men film, essentially, but a weirder branch of it all. Made a bunch of money earlier this year. Ryan Reynolds, all that stuff. All that fourth wall, I don't know. It didn't bother me as much as I thought it would. I thought it would be like too jokey in a weird, snarky way that I would find just nauseating, where I was okay with it. But I'm a little worried. There's this thing that happened with me and Kick-Ass where I watched it and I was like, wow, that was great. And then it was like every time I watched it again, it would like halve in quality.
Okay.
And then by the time you've watched it 5 times, you're like, yeah, this is a bad movie. Like, it just kind of degraded. It's like, man, 9 out of 10. All right, 4.5 out of 10. All right, 2.25 out of 10. It just gets worse each time you see it.
Right.
This was my experience. I'm worried that might happen here, but I think I'm just going to watch it the one time. I've had a good time and leave it where it is.
That's how I did it, too.
I don't know. He's talking to the camera.
It's fine.
There's a Ferris Bueller joke at the very end, which got a smirk out of me. I was like, all right. Because they know you're staying till the end anyway, so why not just allude to another movie that did that? And sure, why not?
Yeah.
I don't really... Captain Deadpool, that was a funny joke when I said that. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Colossus is real cool in it. They did Colossus pretty well.
I guess. I don't know. Did Gina Carano's character die, or is she fine? She was the... Okay.
I don't remember.
That tough lady that fought Colossus, and then Negatonic Teen or whatever explodes.
Yeah.
And then everybody goes flying, and I kind of lost track of... Wait, where's the hench lady? Is she okay? I don't... Oh, well.
Sure.
And then, yeah.
Did you see her get ripped apart on screen?
I didn't see her get ripped apart on screen.
Well, then she's not dead.
Or get shot in the head like the main bad guy, so that guy's dead.
Well, it is Marvel.
Yeah. So, shot in the face.
But I mean, it's Marvel.
But there's blood.
He'll come back.
I don't want that guy to come back.
No.
That guy sucked.
I mean, he probably won't come back.
I don't want that guy
back.
But
yeah.
But, I don't really know what to, it's got an energy to it that, like, I was just in no way compelled to see X-Men Apocalypse. Like, everything everyone was saying about it just sounded so not enjoyable.
Yeah.
That I wasn't really, like, even there's, like, trailers now out there for Logan, the new the new Wolverine film, the last one, apparently.
Uh-huh.
And the tone of that doesn't look very fun either. It's, like, really bleak and just kind of somber.
Batman vs. Superman was this year?
For somber superhero stuff, yeah. I don't... That's not the tone I want.
Right.
Like, in that respect, I guess, like, Strange is going for fun more often. Some of the jokes I actually didn't like very much, but at least they're trying. Specifically, they seem to just... Doctor Strange's thing is he likes pop music.
Okay.
So you're just hearing Benedict talk about Beyonce and Cher, and it's just kind of... not funny. But it's trying. Yeah, Tilda Swinton's there. She's bald. But anyway, they're trying for fun. Guardians is trying for fun. Logan doesn't look like it's doing that. It looks like it's being grim and serious because it's the end of a saga or something, but it's kind of a goofy saga, so maybe lighten up a bit.
X-Men Origins Wolverine's real good.
It's a straightforward revenge movie.
It's so good.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. Like, I guess it, Deadpool refers to how they screwed up his character and stuff in it pretty explicitly. There's an action figure with his stitched mouth or whatever. Mm-hmm. But okay, actually, brief thing on X-Men Origins. Do you remember that there was multiple after credit scenes, or would you have left the theater and not noticed this happened anyway?
I didn't see that movie in theaters. I saw it after. Okay.
Because I saw it twice, and the second time I saw it, it was like, no, there's a scene after you guys. And it was a totally different scene than the one I had seen the last time.
Uh-huh.
And at this point, I don't know if the other scene is really available anywhere. It's Wolverine sitting down to have a drink in Japan. That was it. It's just kind of like, oh, the Silver Samurai stuff. Oh, which actually ended up being a movie.
Right, yeah.
But then the other one that more people saw is Deadpool going, shh.
Yeah.
Shh. That's what he does. That's what Wade Wilson does. And I don't know. There you go. Secret scene. Maybe it's out there. It's probably... That might be where you have to go to the internet. Type in X-Men Origins Wolverine and credit scene 2 if you want to see some boring stuff. So, moving on.
Yeah.
Other recent films. Hacksaw Ridge.
Okay.
Do you know anything about... Okay. So, Mel Gibson.
Oh, okay. Now you have my attention.
Mel Gibson, the least controversial man in the entertainment business.
Well, I mean, the least controversial man of this week, at least.
Maybe, actually, yeah. There you go. It's a good week for him. He released he directed this film. He didn't write it. But yeah, Hacksaw Ridge is a World War II story. His last movie was Apocalypto, 2006. Did you happen to check that out?
That was his last?
Yeah. It's been a long time since he's directed anything. Uh-huh. Like, he was in The Beaver. He's actually been in some stuff subsequently, like Machete Kills and some small-scale kind of revenge movies and stuff. He's been acting, but not directing. So this is his first film he's directed in 10 years. It's a neat story. It's about this man named Desmond T. Doss, who was the first conscientious objector to win a Congressional Medal of Honor. Okay. So he's a Seventh-day Adventist who is opposed to violence in terms of, like, he would not use a weapon, but he was served in a medical corps and ended up saving dozens and dozens of people by just, like, running out there and retrieving them to medical tents and stuff like that. So... It's kind of neat. Like, it's a good story. I felt like this movie is really heavy-handed. Like, maybe that's Mel Gibson. Yeah. I don't know. But there was just the score, and, like, it does a biopic type thing of just, like, flashing back to when he's a kid, and there's, like, formative moments and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And it's a very specific thing for me, but, like, there's a movie that has kind of spoiled all biopics for me, and it's Walk Hard, a Dewey Cox story. Okay. It's that kind of parody of Walk the Line with John C. Reilly. Have you seen it?
Walk Hard.
Hard.
Yeah, because the way you said that, I was expecting
Walk Hard is parody of Walk
Phoenix.
the Line. Yeah. And Ray and all these kind of music movies specifically. But just that format in general, it's just kind of riffs on that formula. Okay. In a way that I couldn't help. Like, specifically because it's like, it's flashing back to two young brothers playing and goofing around. when they're kids in Virginia. And it's just like, this is almost exactly scenes from Walk Hard where they're kids fighting with machetes and all this kind of stuff. Instead of a machete fight, there's a brick fight. But it's like, this is too beat for beat this stupid comedy I've seen 5 times.
Right.
So I'm not invested in this drama right now, which is my problem that won't affect most people.
I actually hate Walk Hard.
Okay.
I can't stand that movie.
Okay.
I saw it once and I was like, well, that's trash. And
I thought it was really great.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I quote that movie a bunch and stuff. Yeah, sorry.
That's fine.
Now we know more about each other and our senses of humor.
Yeah, right.
But I will say Hugo Weaving has a couple good scenes in here. He plays his kind of shattered father who was in World War I and was just traumatized forever after that and is now a drunk belligerent
And that guy's just
jerk.
a good actor.
And he has probably like 1 or 2 of the best moments I felt in the movie.
Okay.
Vince Vaughn is in it as kind of like the head of their unit, like their sergeant.
Oh, so he's a serious role.
Sort of. Like, there were scenes where I wasn't really sure what was happening. Like, it was like, is this trying to be Arlie Ermy in Full Metal Jacket? Because I'm not scared of Vince Vaughn.
No.
So I'm laughing at what he's saying, but maybe that's what they're going for. But he's still, like, berating all of his troops and stuff, but it's just not...
That's weird.
Intense in the same way, so it kind of comes across as goofy. I don't know. But he does kind of give them all weird nicknames and stuff in this scene, too, so I think it is partially a comic thing. Okay. I don't know. I was kind of remembering Full Metal Jacket, and it did not compare favorably in terms of intensity. It's funnier, so if it was going for that, good job, Mel Gibson. I don't know.
Okay.
But... At some point, so it's the Pacific Theater. It's Iwo Jima type stuff, like them versus Japanese troops.
Yep.
And once it gets to combat stuff, it was just kind of exhausting how much just 20 minutes of just people getting shot in the head and like smoke clouds and getting ripped apart by machine gun fire and all this kind of stuff. Grenades all the time. Oh no, grenade! And like throwing a corpse on it and jumping on it and this kind of stuff. Like just non-stop crazy World War II combat.
So it's playing Call of Duty.
It's kind of like Call of Duty. Actually, it's kind of a lot like Call of Duty. Sam Worthington's in it.
Right.
Black Ops guy.
And just because there's just too much fighting.
So yeah, a lot of fighting. Yeah. But so there's tons of fighting, but then there's kind of, oh crap, we got to pull out. There's been this big artillery strike. We don't have time to evacuate our dudes.
Right.
And that's when Desmond gets to do his awesome heroic stuff, which is like staying up on the ridge all night, saving people.
Right.
And I guess I haven't even said Andrew Garfield plays the main guy.
Okay.
And I generally like him. Like he's like, I mean, Spider-Man and everything. Terrible. Spider-Man 2 is terrible.
That's not his fault, though.
99 Homes is pretty good. It was a drama he did with Michael Shannon. Like, he's been pretty good in stuff. He's doing a kind of Southern American accent in this, which has apparently been off-putting for some people, but it didn't really bother me.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I again feel like I'm in this kind of, like, talking about middling... Like, movies I don't have, like, super positive feelings about, but were okay.
Or don't even hate, like...
For this one, though, it was a thing where, like, when I was just reading about, oh, what's this movie about? And, like, just reading about Desmond Doss on Wikipedia, I got a lot out of that. Of just being like, oh, wow, that's actually really crazy what this guy did. That's interesting. So, I don't know if you need to see this movie to get the story of this guy.
Go to Wikipedia.
But just go to Wikipedia. It's a free website. Yeah. Type in Hacksaw Ridge and then click on the guy's name. And
maybe think about donating. To Wikipedia.
Yeah, Wikipedia. They're always worried they're going to get pulled offline.
And make sure you use wikipedia.org/pixelresponse to...
Is that real?
No.
Okay. All right. So...
Use our referral link.
Let's get past like these mediocre movies and talk about some timeless classics. Turner and Hooch, baby.
Yeah, have fun.
No, you gotta... Okay, actually, you were saying... Something about if there's a dog in a movie, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was going to happen in this movie, because guess what? Hooch dies.
Yeah.
And I did not expect that, because it's such a goofy, toned movie. Like, it's like, this is a buddy cop comedy.
That's so good.
With Tom Hanks and a dog.
That's so good.
How, like, there's no way they're going to make that hard shift
Did
into,
it
like...
hit you? Like,
not as much as like
they wanted.
Like, but Tom Hanks was crying and it was just weird. It was just like, this movie didn't earn this moment at all. Like, this is such a silly movie, and now you're trying to like pull at heartstrings in the final 5 minutes because some smuggler shot him with a pistol. But he gets his revenge. He bites Craig T. Nelson. Oh, man. Okay. I'm spoiling this 27-year-old movie.
That's why you wrote it down.
That's why I wrote it down.
Now I get it. Okay.
Yeah, because it actually, like, pulled a surprise on me. In general, though, I was like, this movie's not bad. Like, this movie's doing its jokes. It's fine. Like, Tom Hanks is going for it. I was generally fine with, like, late 80s goofy cop comedy.
Right.
But, I just was not thinking they would do that, and I don't know why. They managed to pull the oldest trick on me, and there you go.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, whatever. Like, in Lethal Weapon, one of them doesn't die. That's how I was perceiving this movie. It's like, this is a buddy cop movie.
No, it's a dog movie.
It's a dog movie.
Yeah.
So... I've been tricked before, like Marley and Me. I went and sat down and was just like, yeah, family comedy, whatever.
It's a dog movie.
And it's like, hey, guess what? It's a dog movie. This dog's gonna die tragically trying to save them or something. Like, they come up with some weird home invasion. But see,
that one,
I forget.
That one does earn it a little bit more because it is just like
a family and their dog.
Well, because you see the dog grow up with them, right?
Sure.
So at least it tries
Whereas this is like, yeah, he inherits an old man's dog who was murdered, and then they solve the murder. But then the dog still gets shot in the process of figuring it out. So it's just like, what? What is happening?
It's so good.
Yeah, it was something.
That movie's terrible.
I don't know. That movie's alright. I think it's alright. Have you seen Canine? It came out the same year.
No.
I was reading. Yeah. 1989 was the year of dog cop comedies, apparently. Because James Belushi, 3 months earlier, was in Canine. Great. And it was also a big hit.
Great.
But I guess Turner and Hooch has a bigger legacy. So, there you go.
Great.
I mean, for example, we're talking in depth about Turner and Hooch. I don't know anything about Canine. I'm never going to watch it. Fuck you, Jim Belushi. All right.
Maybe sorry, if you go to netflix.com/pixel response, use our referral link to watch Turner and Hooch.
That's not real. Stop saying these things. But, okay, Turner and Hooch came. That was a completely impulsive click. That was not supposed to happen. More intentional, I guess, was Halloween 3.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't talked since Halloween happened.
Yeah, unfortunately.
How was your Halloween?
Last episode was Sleepycast.
How was your Halloween?
It was just indoors. It was hiding from the world.
We both live in like apartment type things.
Yeah.
So you don't get trick-or-treaters.
While I was watching the movie, I did hear loud trick-or-treat yelling in the corridor, and I was like, what the hell is happening? Is somebody in our building expecting candy? And I turned off the lights and was quiet. Because it's like, I didn't buy anything. We're in an apartment building.
Everybody knows if there's an emergency on Halloween, you turn off the lights and you be quiet, and they'll go away.
Lay low. Just pause the movie and just hope it goes away.
You have to turn out the lights.
Yeah, I was like, what do I have? I don't have any. Like, we have popcorn. What am I supposed to do?
Okay, do you have like a pumpkin or a skeleton outside your door?
No.
Then they shouldn't be asking you.
They shouldn't expect
it. If there's not a weird paper or plastic little doodad there with the light on,
just like, hey, we're doing the thing.
You're saying keep walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I figured there was nobody last year, so I just didn't expect anything to happen.
Did they stop by your door anyway?
No, I didn't get anybody knocking or anything, so I don't know what that was. Maybe that was just like neighbors heading out to go trick-or-treating or saying hi to somebody or something. I don't know. But Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, is all about going trick-or-treating, which I appreciated.
That movie's real good.
It's actually good, yeah. Which is, I guess it's this weird kind of... It's scored super low on IMDb.
Yeah.
Which I guess there's just some sort of like expectations management with that movie of just like, what the hell? Where's Michael Myers?
Yeah, no,
what's
that's
going
totally
on?
It. Because when Halloween came out, originally the idea was that the Halloween series would be this kind of anthology of weird things that are happening on Halloween.
So, like, something scary is going on. Right. Hey, it's this stalker dude. He escaped from mental institution.
And they made that, like, a two-parter or whatever, because they wanted to end it off with,
conclusive stuff with Michael?
No, the first one they wanted to end off with, what's it called? A cliffhanger sort of thing.
Okay.
So then they just did another movie, but, like, there never was the plan to make it a slasher series.
Franchise, but...
Right.
I guess probably in the in-between, like, Friday the 13th came out.
Yeah. And they saw kind of the success that, like, people like schlocky horror stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, so yeah, it's like somehow expectations were changing during the time those were coming out. So
yeah.
I'm told there's a great Shout Factory Blu-ray of this movie. Which has a big in-depth documentary and stuff. I'm very curious about seeing what that's about. But I didn't know John Carpenter was actually still involved in 3. Like, he provided music for it, and I believe co-produced it and stuff. So I think he provided some writing for 2. He was still involved in 2 at that point, too. Sure. So, like, it was like his franchise. He was still there doing stuff for it.
Yeah.
But, so with 3, they tried to go the anthology route, where it's just like, this has nothing to do with Michael Myers. This is just some weird stuff going on.
Did it even have to do with Haddonfield? Where does it take place? I can't remember.
Oh, man.
I thought it was just somewhere in, like, Massachusetts or something. Like,
I honestly can't remember.
It's just a city, right?
There's a small town there a lot of it takes place in, where there's this weird factory making masks and stuff, but this doctor investigates this strange death at his hospital and all this kind of stuff. I don't know. It was just a kind of cool 80s, 80s synth score, weird, scary kind of story.
Totally.
Like, there was a couple weird deaths in it that were kind of just so weird they were kind of scary. Like, they're not scary in the moment. It's not like, I'm scared about what's happening. It's more just like,
about the head thing?
Oh, just like your head turns into bugs?
Yeah.
Or sort of. There's that, but there's also like,
or the fact
this lady
that
activates
kids.
That it's happening to kids is crazy. There's a scene where a kid dies and then his parents are just flipping out, and then horrible poisonous snakes and spiders and stuff come out of him and kill them.
Yeah.
And it was just super weird. But there's also a scene where a lady accidentally activates a microchip and like burns her own face with this laser, and it just looked gnarly. Like, it was just like, that's not CG craziness. That's like somebody made something gross and I'm looking at it. So it has that kind of
Actually, quality. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is a treasure that a lot of people overlook for the dumbest reasons. It's really good.
It's easy to kind of like read about it and assume it's bad. Like, I think I first would have read about it in like a Leonard Maltin movie guide or something.
Right.
Where it's just like, oh, this isn't even like this other
Myers?
movie. What the hell? Like 2 out of 5, 2 out of 4 or something. And you're just like, okay, that doesn't sound great. But it's not trying to do that. So it's just, this is a totally different angle on it, and it's actually okay. It's dopey. Like, what's actually happening is incredibly insane.
Yeah.
But I just enjoyed having that story told to me. So, yeah, it was available on PSN for rental, so I watched it that way.
Oh, okay.
It was like $4 or something. I think it was only available in SD, but it looked okay.
You should get a Laserdisc of it.
I should get a Laserdisc of it.
You should.
I'm also curious about that Blu-ray, though, because I want to check out that explanation of all the turmoil that happened or whatever, because it didn't do well in its time either, and then they reverted back to the Michael Myers pattern and stuff like that. Which, I guess just that like kind of mascot horror characters thing was starting to happen.
Right.
So it's just like, hey, why would you abandon Michael Myers? You had this before Freddy came on the scene.
It was all about making a horror icon, not a horror movie at that point. Yeah. Which
at some point really limits what it's about. Like, because you're going to see that pattern of just like, well, the guy's going to stab the teenagers. That's what's going to happen in this one.
Yeah.
But this time it's different teenagers and it happens slightly differently. Sure, yeah. But it's not going to be like, well, what's going on here? I have no idea. I'm just here for a weird, scary story.
And that's what that is.
Here's 100%. Something else. Like, I don't even want to like elaborate on the specifics because it's kind of creative. So
I think people should watch it.
Yeah, I actually think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
So, I guess sticking with movies for one more from the 80s as well.
I can talk about a few, I guess.
Oh, you've been watching some stuff?
Well,
it's not on here.
They're not really, like, new or anything.
That's fine. This was 81, 83?
You're right.
82
we'll just
Season of the Witch.
Spitball some stuff.
Yeah.
After.
Oh, okay.
No, go ahead.
Dead Zone. That's what I was gonna...
Okay.
David Cronenberg.
See, it's weird you bring this up because I've been meaning to watch Black Mirror for a bit now.
Okay.
And...
Is that kind of the same?
Well, no, but like, I don't know. I've been into that mood of just like weird shit.
Okay. Just tell me something weird.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I guess more so than what we were saying before, anthology series with just kind of one-off, odd tales.
So the Dead Zone, if I remember correctly...
Yeah.
Is, the movie where somebody actually died filming it, correct? Did the main dude die?
I don't think so.
What am I thinking of?
There's the Twilight Zone movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
the Twilight Zone movie has
an
infamous stunt accident that happened. It actually killed some kids, too.
Like,
they
that's
were
what I'm
working
thinking
after hours. It kind of changed a lot of like laws about working in show business and this kind of stuff.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that really tainted that movie.
Sure.
Same time frame though, Dead Zone. But it's a Stephen King adaptation. David Cronenberg, Christopher Walken is in a car accident, wakes up from a coma after several years and has the kind of a psychic ability that directly, like, if he touches your hand, he can see things about your fate, I guess. Often death related, like, oh no, you're gonna die if you go to this thing today or whatever.
As humans, right?
Yeah.
Like, our fate is kind of to die.
Like, that's the only sure end point. So so he can kind of save people by seeing that, or he ends up getting. So I read the book recently, actually.
Okay.
And it's generally similar, but it kind of ties things together in a slightly different way. But in either case, it's a very kind of episodic story. Like, Johnny Smith develops this ability, finds out about it, I guess, uses it to solve a serial killing case, and then uses it to get involved with a politician who is on this kind of crazy rise to power that could cause crazy problems for America. And he decides to intervene.
There's no way that would ever happen.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
In no way was our decision our decision to watch it the night we did was directly in correlation to the election this year. We watched it the night before. Okay. So just like, I think Greg Stilson is really similar to somebody that's doing stuff.
So you watched it Monday?
We watched it Monday, yeah. And also Turner and Hooch the same day, but that's unrelated.
Right.
But yeah, it just, the way they weave the stories together.
You see, America's the dog.
Oh, yeah, see, America's Hooch.
Right.
Junior, because reborn. No, there's a puppy at the end of the movie that's supposed to make it all good.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, whatever, there's still a puppy, so feel happy. Fine. Yeah, it's fine. Death and rebirth.
Yeah.
But yeah. Dead Zone, it's okay. It kind of drifts along kind of lazily, like it doesn't build up momentum or suspense really. It just kind of jumps to other things happening with the same power. I still generally like it. Like, Christopher Walken's sharp, like it's reasonably well put together. I do appreciate how they kind of, like, there's moments in the book that are just kind of more one-off than anything. Like, at the end of the story, a kid is grabbed by this insane politician and held up as a bullet shield.
Okay.
In the book, it's just a kid who happens to be there. In the movie, they decide to make it the daughter, or the son, rather, of Johnny's old flame from before the coma.
Right.
So they just kind of put it with previous story elements. They kind of just tie it in a little better. But anyway, I guess we should probably just, the reason we watched it was Greg Stilson is kind of similar to Donald Trump.
Sure.
In terms of just appealing to the blue-collar working man, kind of disenfranchised workers of America, and getting a lot of steam and making things happen on the political stage.
Sure.
Different circumstances, but yeah. See, Greg Stilson is also insane and isn't, like, strong-arming people and stomping on dogs' skulls isn't beneath him kind of stuff.
Right.
In the book, specifically, they make him pretty malevolent.
Yeah.
They establish him kind of with one scene in the movie, and that's Martin Sheen plays him. But okay, so election night, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Did you watch it? Did you watch that happen?
No, I worked.
Oh, right. But actually, it wasn't even resolved by the time
I know.
You got home.
So I came home.
Yeah.
I ate something.
Okay.
I was like, what a great day. I thought to myself.
Yeah.
And then I went online and just typed, is it over, or like who won in the thing.
Yeah, election 2016.
And then people were just like, it's not over yet. I'm like, okay, cool. And then I played a video game for a bit.
Cool, okay.
Yeah. That's Canadian privilege.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We were kind of always we set aside Tuesday night as like, we're going to watch this. Because there's just been so much talk for months and years. I don't know. There's just been a lot of steam building up. And it was just like, this is the thing to do. Like, we got to sit down and watch this. Okay. We're going to have some food, sit on the couch.
It's one of those things that, like, it has the potential to be the moment, like, the moon landing.
Yeah.
That, like, people will remember in, like, 20 years when something bad might have happened.
It's a night of, there's historical significance in just the events happening.
For sure.
So yeah, we loaded up CBC. They had a live stream going on for quite a while. Like, I think the way it worked is they were live streaming and talking on the CBC News Network, and then it went live to CBC Television a couple hours into it.
I see.
So there was kind of just like a change of tone or whatever, like a
delay?
Reintroduction. No, it was just kind of like,
I see.
All right, now we're going to go to our like regular viewers. And then it was kind of just a election night. It's happening right now. Like, they just kind of like started over, but it was all the same people that you've been watching for the last hour and a half.
That's
great.
Just
like, this is a little weird, but
That's
okay.
Yeah.
Because we were seeing the numbers go up from, like, when we turned it on, it was 33 electoral college votes for Trump, 3 for Hillary.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, oh, okay. And then we just kind of watched those numbers grow over the course of the night.
That was surprising, to hear.
Just that it swung that way? Or
that hard.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, yeah, we are Canadians. We're a little distant from the actual consequences of it.
I'm 100% distant.
Our passions, our livelihoods aren't tied up in it. So apologies if we're saying things a little glibly. A little bit. Like,
well, this is a
trading partners and all that.
We talked a little bit when Brexit was happening about how this might affect our jobs because we deal with like border stuff and like more red tape and bureaucracy and stuff.
Yeah.
So it marginally could.
It's true.
Affect us.
And we were expecting, our currency is going to change in relation to this, and like it's obviously going to have impacts pretty quickly, but it's not, our rights as citizens and everything are Canadian. Like we're on a different set of rules and stuff. Sure. So, but it was weird seeing the panel of like CBC people they had. I apologize for not having all of their names right in front of me. I guess I could have done that. But just kind of the tone of the night became very doom and gloom, like really quickly.
Yeah.
Like just seeing the amount of anxiety and paranoia like pour out of people over what was going to happen now. Like it was just like, oh no, this is so terrible. This hateful person is in charge now. America's gone crazy. What's going on? I'm so disappointed. The word disappointed was used so many times.
Did you?
And it was just...
You're not on Twitter.
No.
Did you see anything about Twitter that night?
I was looking up was individual tweets of like people I was curious about. So it's just like, what does this person think about it? Okay, they haven't said anything. What does Patton Oswalt think about it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's
some stuff.
Yeah.
What is Louis C.K.? Oh, yeah, he doesn't post on here anymore. Okay, never mind.
Sure.
And like some game journalists and stuff. Like I was looking up Austin Walker, Patrick Klepek, those kind of guys.
The people that outwardly care about that.
That have expressed, they express opinions about that kind of stuff. So, what are they saying? Like that kind of stuff. There was definitely some kind of curiosity with the way the weather, like the wind was blowing.
But you don't have a timeline where you
I wasn't looking at
just through.
Tell me everything. Like what is people saying on election 2016 hashtag or whatever. But I was
a cesspool, man.
Like back and forth biting at each other or what?
It was just like a bunch of people saying this is the worst thing to ever happen to them and like all that stuff, which is whatever.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of people just saying like, well, Muslims, get the fuck out. Like, just being the worst type of people.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was...
Like, there's kind of drum beating happening on one side and, like, despair happening on the other side.
Totally, yeah.
Which, it was a little weird. But, I'm being selective with how I'm, like, characterizing it. Because, like, at some point, there's, like, a little bit... I don't want to say it's schadenfreude exactly. But there's a certain, like, I'm really interested to see these people, like, the kinds of people that are being, like, really stressed out and upset about this, they kind of haven't been stressed out or upset about anything for a while, it seems. Like, there's a certain... I mean,
the last time would have been Bush, right?
Sure. And that was almost, like, jokey, Like, it kind of became kind of... Well, like, wow, this president's so stupid. Like, I can't believe this.
Well, it's weird, right? Because the way the Bush thing went is when he came into power, one of the first things that, like, was big that he had to deal with was 9/11.
9/11, yeah.
And because of 9/11, America really banded together and was like, yeah, we're gonna follow our president into like hell to like kill these fuckers that did this, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's one of those things where terror actually brought people together.
Yeah.
So there was a while where Bush was like, actually, people liked him. Like they were like, yeah, like we're gonna go to war and this is the best thing the president could do and blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then reality kicked in with a lot of people, and they're like, wait, this is terrible. We shouldn't be going to war.
Well, it's like there's such a loosely defined war. Like we're
Yeah.
still there. We haven't gotten him yet. What's going on?
But it's
like,
one of those things
why
where
are we in Iraq too? Like it kind of snowballs.
Bush was very up and down.
Yeah.
For a lot of people on both sides, really. But like, you're right. This is probably the first time in a long time since maybe like the whole like Red Scare
Sure.
that America has felt this like.
This seems just like absolute fear, though.
It totally
like,
is. You're
like
right.
Bush is kind of like, oh, that idiot is running the country.
True.
You know, like there's kind of like, oh, he's like, there was, you know, a lot of what's his IQ and stuff. Like there's a lot of kind of like smug superiority towards Bush. Of just like, well, he's doing the best he can for like a stupid Texas cowhand or whatever. Like
Sure.
he should never have been here, but whatever. This is like, oh no, someone with like a crazy agenda that is not in line with mine is in charge now. Like this is terrible.
Sure.
Like they're gonna reverse all these social programs that I love and need, and this is getting really scary. Like people are scared as opposed to kind of, I don't know how to characterize the Bush like difference, but it doesn't feel quite the same. But I mean, maybe I'm looking at it more closely now. I don't know.
There's a huge difference though, because the Republicans actually own
the House as well.
They own everything.
Right? Yeah.
Like
the Senate. Yeah.
That's not been a thing.
Like where all the stars have aligned against a certain portion of the country.
For like, in fact, actually a lot of people brought up the last time it was a thing was 1928, the start of the Great Depression.
Okay.
So, in all honesty, they do have I don't think any government should be opposed. Kanye West said it best, no one man should have all that power.
Yeah.
I think every government should be opposed.
Like there should be a split, so there's checks and balances kind of thing.
Dude, I just think everything in life should be opposed.
Okay.
That's kind of why, like, even though I don't agree with bigots and racists, I like, it's okay for them to be out there because, like, even good humor and good, like, people should be opposed, I think. It's just a thing.
Actually, that might be sort of what I'm interested in, is like now there's actual like resistance to the attitudes that were kind of just happening for the last 8 years or more. Like where it was just kind of like, yeah, gay marriage is happening and legalizing marijuana, that might happen. And like abortion that's already locked up. Why would we even talk about that? And like trans rights is now being discussed and like looked at. And
it should be.
Yeah. But it was just kind of like thing after thing after thing. Like it's all happening in the same direction. And now it's just kind of like, whoa, now who knows what's going to happen? Like now there's somebody who isn't just going to keep pushing in that direction. So what's going to happen? Like this might force people to galvanize their, you know, righteous opinions, but also you have to go protest now. Like you actually have to go participate and do things now, as opposed to just kind of
hashtag
happening
and get out there with a sign or something.
Cause I don't know, because it kind of just seemed like the wind was blowing in one direction for a long time, and I was almost kind of like, as a center fence sitting kind of person, I was getting kind of bored with the show. You know, I was getting a little predictable.
Sure,
that's like a haughty way to say it. But I don't know. I was kind of like, oh, this is the most interesting thing that could have happened tonight. Like, this is not the thing that everybody wanted to happen. Like, everyone in my bubble anyway. But, like, you know, a lot of celebrities and stuff, too. Like, they're chiming in. Like, it seemed like everybody was uniformly in the Democratic side. So just like, oh, weird. Like, this is just not going their way. Like, I don't know who it is exactly. Like, there's kind of a lot of like, oh, it's angry white people. This is their stand or whatever. Like, this is what's happening. And it's like,
the unfortunate thing, though, is that it is, but because it dilutes the real, like, people that voted because they agree with some things on the platform, or there's things there that work for them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a shame, because while there are, like, the racist, misogynist, whatever they want to throw out there, buzzwords to fearmonger or whatever.
Yeah.
there are legitimate people where they looked not at Trump, because everybody can agree Trump is an idiot and he's probably scary to put in power just because he's an idiot. And a puppet, probably.
Well,
but like...
It's a different kind of idiocy, though. It's like a bullheadedness or something.
Totally. Yeah,
it's not like clueless. It's like...
Right, yeah.
Belligerent or something.
Sure.
I don't know, but
like a child.
I don't know. A little, yeah, sure, like a tantrum or something.
Yeah,
like there's a certain kind of like hostility or like reactive quality that a lot of people have said about him. Of just like he does not take criticism well. Like the way he runs his businesses is very tyrannical and kind of stuff like it's just kind of like okay, like I don't know. That's a really strange person to have in the big chair.
I mean, it's a problem, but like at the end of the day, there are people that look at like the list of stuff. And they're like, well, this serves me best because they're gonna, like, I can't afford Obamacare, so I don't really want that to come back. I want to be able to, like, have different options and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there are, and the worst part about it is those people, not only, like, it's not a thing about we disagree about which party is in there. It's become, you are a piece of shit of a human for not doing what I wanted anymore.
Yeah.
It's no longer, like, well, I think this is the best way to run our country. It's, you should get out of mine because you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. Like, a lot of people have been calling it, like, the ugliest election ever, and just kind of, like, it got so acidic and angry.
I strongly believe a big proponent of this is social media.
Oh, like that you can just see it plastered on your screen, kind of like, that's... I mean, the Obama elections have had social media in existence too, but... I don't know, yeah.
And you saw shitty Republicans come out against the Democrats and saying terrible things about Obama.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, yeah.
But the problem is that when there's a certain amount of people and it's critical mass and everybody can see it, it just keeps growing. It snowballs. It's no longer the outspoken crazy Republicans that hate Obama. It's everybody hates the other side. 50% hates 50%.
Seeing how, like, exactly split it was, too. Like, just seeing the numbers bubble up and just being like, it is, like, 59,283,000 versus 59,083,000 or something. Like, it's, like, really close. And actually, the popular vote was in Hillary's favor, which everyone's pointing at. Is just being like, oh, the system's broken. But it's just like, the Electoral College is how it is, and it's not even close there. Like, it's just... This was a decisive, it happened this way. Yeah. But, I don't know. It was a exhilarating thing to watch.
We should talk about some of the dumb shit, like the actual dumb shit that pisses me off about it, though.
Okay. Like the
11,000 people that wrote in Harambe as a write-in vote.
Okay. I didn't know that. I keep forgetting what that is, but I totally know what it is. It's that gorilla. It's the gorilla thing. Gorilla. I know. I've seen reaction vids and all that, whatever. Like, I know it's a meme, but it keeps not sticking, and then I see it later and I'm like, what is that?
You're obviously not part of 11,000 people that decided
to joke vote.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
49.6% they say. No, sorry, it's like 46%. It's somewhere in there.
Okay.
Just didn't vote at all. Like, period.
Oh, of Americans?
Yeah.
It was lower turnout than they expected. There was a lot of talk on the CBC broadcast about, like, the black vote didn't show up the way they wanted because it wasn't as excited about Barack Obama, so they just weren't there. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, there was, like, demographic breakdowns and stuff. Like, they assumed a lot of Hispanic votes would go against Trump because of all the horrible things he said about Mexico and all that, but it just didn't seem to really get people's blood up very much.
Let me tell you something about Mexicans, all right?
All right.
And you can take this to the bank.
Take it to the bank, okay.
When they're part of your country, they don't give a fuck. They're like, I'm American, and they're gonna choose whatever they want. Like, the Mexicans in America are very much, I'm American.
Okay.
I'm gonna vote for Trump because he's my guy. Okay. I'm an American.
It's just like, but what about that wall? It's like, whatever, man. I don't live there anymore.
I'll build a wall. I don't want Mexicans to come in here. Like,
yeah, okay. There was a older Cuban American guy in Florida they were talking to who was like, no, man, Trump's great. And like, okay, I don't know.
Right.
Like, it was the Florida vote, so it was that kind of key state.
Yeah.
It's also just weird seeing like that system and how it's just, well, they took the state, they get all of it. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
That's weird. Why do they get every single college vote?
It's actually really bad.
It's weird. But, yeah.
The whole two-party system in general is broken.
Like, I guess if we want to, like, elaborate some on how the Canadian system, like, there's MPs for each, like,
basically what you're doing is, when you're voting for somebody here, you're giving that party seats.
Yeah.
You're giving...
And the party that has the majority of the seats, their party leader becomes our prime minister.
Yeah.
So you're not voting for the prime minister. You're voting for the locally.
Yeah, and you're voting locally, and then the prime minister is basically the person with 51%.
Yeah.
And more, right? Like
well, not even. It's actually, you can get a coalition government, so I think presently 45% is the majority, the largest share.
Yeah.
So it's weird, but...
It is.
So for example, we live in a very conservative city, so I voted for the Liberals last time, but they didn't win in my, like, riding, so essentially my vote isn't really doing much. Like, it can't really
but we have a Liberal
be represented on the big board.
So in a way it did
sort of, but my seat wasn't contributing to their total at all. So you're kind of contributing to the popular vote number, but that's not really going to do much. And I guess that's sort of similar to the American situation where it's like, well, I voted for Trump, say, in California. No one's gonna hear about that, but it's reflected in the popular vote. Or you voted for Hillary Clinton in Texas.
Right.
Like, it's not gonna hold much weight in the electoral college, but whatever. Okay, I guess just kind of bringing up, like, trying to elaborate on this weird sentence I wrote down on our writing here that sort of ties into your talk about, like, racists and bigots and this kind of terminology. Like, there's kind of this suffix I've been hearing a lot since university, which is just phobic, and you just attach that to whatever you want. And
gate if it's an event, phobic if it's like someone's ideology.
If a person, if you just want to kind of dismiss a person very quickly, you just take whatever it is they're saying and say, oh, you're whatever phobic.
Right.
And that's fine for you to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just become this, like, kind of
you're
smug...
Star Trek Into Darkness phobic.
Yeah. You're... Bad example. Sure. Okay. Real ones that get thrown around a lot.
Avenger phobic.
You're Avenger phobic. Yeah. You're X-Men Apocalypse phobic. Like, no, that's not how these are thrown around. So xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic. Those are big ones right now. Those are things that people will say about you if you are I'm trying to think. Xenophobic's a nice big umbrella one because it kind of just means
everything. That's not
foreign to you.
That's not white.
Oh, you're just scared of things that aren't exactly like you like them, kind of thing. And it's just like, well, no, that's a really, dismissive, kind of stripped down way to summarize me as a person.
But then at the same time, you're totally right, because the things I'm afraid of are things I don't understand. Sure.
But I guess I find it a little, like, difficult. It's like a difficult semantic thing where it's like, well, how do you, like, I guess you could just exchange that. You're like, you're xenophobic. No, you're xenophobic. No, you're xenophobic. And just keep going back and forth.
I mean, or it's just you're just describing Tumblr now, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
But actually, in a way, it's that kind of stuff. Like, that kind of, like, sorry for this. Oh, man. Okay, so there's the term social justice warrior. Gets thrown around a lot. Yep. Yeah. Uh-huh. There's this kind of, like, people on this progressive march to get everybody using the correct pronouns.
Right.
Like, get everybody kind of being as respectful and politically correct in a way.
Right.
But it's kind of just, it's so narrowly, like, you just, it's so easy to misstep and accidentally offend somebody or misarticulate what you're saying. And then the thing I feel is, like, kind of unfair is then they can level one of these terms at you and just kind of dismiss you completely. They're just like, oh, you're xenophobic. You're homophobic. Get out of here. I don't even care what you have to say.
And then the rest of the populace will just see that term and say, oh, he's xenophobic. I don't want to talk to him.
I don't want to deal with that guy. That guy is homophobic. Like, it's kind of become, like, a really poisonous word or set of words.
Sure.
But it's not really perceived that way. So you can say that on the CBC panel, for example, and talk about, like, oh, yeah, how did this xenophobic, racist person become the leader? But like, they're not throwing, like, the kind of negative stuff that they're saying. Like, for example, the Access Hollywood Trump sexism stuff that was getting out there in the past couple weeks, right? When you, like, did you hear it? Did you listen to it?
No.
Okay. I feel like now I'm kind of in thin ice area, but, like, I'm not saying it's like, this is, you know, I'm not going to use it's locker room talk, whatever, but I work in a blue collar warehouse. I have heard shittier stuff said there.
But I mean, that bugs me.
Okay.
At our warehouse.
Yeah. Like, it's not my favorite thing to hear there either. Okay. But it just seems kind of like, well, you're putting a lot of, like, negative energy around this of, like, oh man, I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he would say like, the big phrase was, like, grab them by the pussy was the thing he said.
Yeah,
it's like, that's a shitty, aggressive thing to say. But I've heard shittier things said where I work, you know? Like, so I'm not saying, like, and that makes it fine.
No, it doesn't excuse
I've heard shittier things in the locker room, so whatever. It's like, no, that's not what I'm saying, but it's just like, it just seems like you're having a very sensitive reaction to this, and, like, I have some bad news for you. It's actually way worse than that. You know, there's a lot more negative words being used out there. But even, you know, like, it's kind of just like, oh, you thought that was offensive? Okay, well, sorry, I gotta tell you something. A lot of people are saying stuff like that. Like, it's
to build on your point, actually, because it does bother me when dumb shit like that gets said at work. But, and maybe this is just, like, my white male privilege or whatever.
Yeah.
I just ignore it.
Yeah.
Because if I let anything get to me and they know, it's gonna get worse.
Like, that's a weak point, that's a button to push kind of thing. Like, that could be...
Where when you ignore it, they get bored. Like, this is the thing, is that they get bored eventually, and then if people are not listening...
Yeah,
and then
like,
they stop.
I try not to reciprocate it or laugh at it or, like, help it continue or contribute my own little joke or whatever. Like, I don't do that.
Right.
But it's just kind of, well, at some point, there's that kind of, well, you gotta let it roll off your back. You gotta kind of just... know that's happening.
There is a point where you should just, like, stop somebody.
Yeah.
But...
And it's just like, well, that it was also, like, 11 years ago seems a little, like, well, it's a while ago, you know? Like, I mean, it's still that person, and this is the job to be scrutinized, I guess. Yeah. Like, this is not the same as any normal kind of situation.
This job is not working at a logistics warehouse.
Yeah. It's like,
no, you're right. It should be scrutinized, probably.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing where it's like role models. The question of role models has been coming up a lot of just like, oh no, this is terrible. Like, this is a terrible role model for everybody. Like, even in our, we did a top-down episode earlier where there was a lot of chat going on. There was talk about, like, the first lady. Like, is Trump's wife really a great role model for America's girls?
Right.
And it's just like, well... I don't know. Like, probably not, I guess, but
I don't know anything about her either.
Exactly. I don't either. And it's also, at some point, I'm also feeling there's a lot of, like, well, you're kind of being, like, at some point, everybody's being very closed-minded to the possibility that this might not be that bad and might actually work out.
Right.
Like, what if he's a good president? Like, that would, to me, be, like, the greatest story, is like, oh, he was actually really good. Like, it actually really worked out. Like, sure, he has kind of stated all these things, and, like, there's the back and forth and the, like, negative language.
I'm honestly not worried about him building a wall, nuking...
Talk of nuclear codes was on CBC that night. Like, people were like, oh my god, he's got the nuclear codes! And you're just like, that's so paranoid. I don't know.
This is stuff I'm not really worried about, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm more worried about what this is doing to people, like their own country, tearing each other apart.
Yeah, that kind of like, I don't trust my neighbor now, because they did this.
That's way worse than what one man can do.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Although, really, what's that turnout? That's like 120 million people out of 320 million people.
Dude, it was like...
actually voted.
It was something like 26.7% or something voted for either side, roughly.
Yeah.
And then there's just like... a huge
this giant
portion.
Swath that just isn't engaged in this system at all, which
But
that's a frequent problem. Like, I don't...
It is, but I can see why. Because if I was down there, I honestly didn't know who I was going to vote.
Yeah. Like, a lot of the talk going into it was, like, people voting lesser of two evils in that mindset. They weren't excited about any possibility. It was like, which are you more afraid of?
But see, I understand this.
Yeah.
I think that's a bad reason to vote.
They were calling it a depressed vote. Like, it's not where you want to be. Like, no one was... Well, not nobody. Like, there were diehard Trump people that were, like, fired up about it. Uh-huh. And then there's got to be a Hillary contingent that was also...
totally.
Like, the people that are, like, showing up at the headquarters and, like, have banners and stuff, and they're into it.
Totally.
But, yeah, then there's a huge group of people that are just not even interested.
Well, I mean, then there's, like, 300 million people.
Yeah.
After that, those people.
180 million or something. But yeah,
sure,
big number. Like a big percentage, yeah.
I honestly don't believe a lot of the people, in fact, I'm going to say most of the people that voted either way, actually, like, cared, really. They were at a point where they were just choosing the lesser of two evils. They didn't...
Or these Harambe votes and stuff, which are...
That's just ridiculous. I hate that. That angers me, actually.
There was some anger being leveled at, like, there was a percentage of votes in Florida that could have been significant that was third-party candidates, which essentially is a protest vote or something. Like, it's not gonna actually...
This is the problem I have.
...swing anything with the major parties.
If you're looking at a third party...
Yeah.
And you really believe in that stuff, you should vote for them. Even though you know it's an arms race between two sides, you should be like this, giving a finger to both sides.
That was kind of what I was saying, because people were like, oh, dude, if all those people who voted for Jill Stein voted for Hillary instead, she would have won that state.
But if everybody that voted for Hillary voted for Jill Stein or whoever...
Yeah.
Right?
Like, it's like, but they truly didn't want to. Like, they went out and they're allowed to vote for a third-party candidate.
And that's
like,
fine.
It feels weird to be mad at those people when there's, like, this larger pool of people that didn't even go.
At
you
all.
know? Like, it's just like, well, don't be mad at those people for, like, going down to the election house and saying something with their vote. Right. There's people who aren't doing anything. So, I don't know. It's convoluted there, too, though. Like, there was a lot of stuff coming to light to me about just, like, how long polling stations are open, like giant lines, like weird placement for polling stations, voting machines that have some kind of weird quirks to them.
And every state is different, so they have different rules.
There's mail-in states where there isn't even a polling office necessarily. Like, there's a way to submit a physical vote, but it's kind of convoluted in its own right, and I'm sure they don't have it set up for giant turnouts on that end. You're supposed to have registered way beforehand and send in your ballot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of, like, this is a massive enterprise of... Like, even with the votes that did turn out, it's like 120 million documents being processed in one night to, like, get this result, you know? Like, it's just crazy that this works.
As people that process documents.
Yeah, it's just like, what does that look like? Do you have some sort of, like, casino card counting machine or something that you're feeding all these into?
No,
like,
probably a dude, like...
Depending on the state, like, I don't know, yeah. And then there's all the early voting and all that kind of stuff that happens. I don't know. Just a lot of stuff about politics was bubbling up and kind of reading through it in a way I haven't really engaged with anything in a while.
I think it's probably good we talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Like we did.
I don't mean to say, like, no, this is great or no, this is terrible or whatever. I don't feel it's, like, as black and white as any of those things. It's unfortunately a very boring gray.
Which is what the problem is with the two-party system in general.
Is it kind of casts black and white villainy on the other side.
Totally.
And it
the
becomes
light side
this,
and
like,
the dark side.
Yeah.
I mean, look what happened to Star Wars.
I was actually making that kind of because, like, blue and red are the two main lightsaber colors, so you could be all stupid about that too. Just like, oh no, the evil side won because red lightsaber is Darth Vader.
And I mean, Halo.
And Halo, red versus blue,
yeah.
That's also the case. That state, Texas, went completely red. So, yeah, trumping it up.
I don't think we should discuss who we would have voted for.
That's the thing.
It's inconsequential.
Well, there was an interesting kind of article I read, like a prediction thing from Michael Moore, documentary guy.
Great.
Yeah, but he was saying Trump's going to win. And kind of had a little, like, justification thing.
Actually,
why.
I read a lot of things, like blog posts and stuff, saying Trump's gonna win and here's why.
Yeah.
And they were real spot on.
Yeah, it's like, that's kind of exactly how it went. Like, he won the Rust Belt states, all that kind of fell into place exactly the way.
And it makes me want to see those articles again and, like, bookmark them, because those dudes obviously know how
have a better, like, on the pulse
They're
of what's
obviously
going
from
on.
the future.
Yeah, Michael Morris from the future.
Yeah.
But no, like, something he said was just kind of, when you're in that voting booth, it's totally different.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, you are now alone with what you want to have happen. Like, there's no social pressure on you anymore. You can just kind of express whatever you want to express with your vote.
Right.
And yeah, like, I've kind of had to think about, like, I guess I don't want to commit firmly to, like, either side, because then half of American listeners are going to stop listening.
The thing is, I can't really, I can't throw myself at either side.
It's, I mean, we're still not in it, so
right. That's
it's kind of abstract.
And honestly,
anyway,
like, even up here, like, I'll talk a little bit about up here. I think, even though it's very, very few, but I do think there's some things that the NDP does right. I like a lot of things the Liberals do right, and I like a lot of what the Conservatives do right.
Yeah.
The problem is that all those little pieces aren't in one party.
No.
For me. So I have to decide where I am in my life. Like, where am I for tax breaks? Where am I for schooling? Where am I for this sort of stuff? And I have to kind of vote accordingly to that.
Yeah. That was something where I took a kind of online panel in the days leading up to it. There's been a lot of stuff where it kind of compared your thoughts on a bunch of issues to the candidates that were out there.
Yeah. And
the main takeaway for me was just kind of, it positioned me as a centrist.
Okay.
So, like, I end up in kind of a similar way, where it's just kind of like, well, part of how I feel about, like, foreign policy is more in line with these people, but how I view kind of Homeland Security or something is more in line with this group over here, and then how I view kind of social programs and kind of education and issues like this is more in line with this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it ends up being like this really weird middle ground place. So which I guess that is kind of how you have states that swing, and the kind of 50% falling different ways is just, there is a contingent of people that change depending on what's going on. So yeah, it's a big.
There's one last thing I want to talk about this whole thing that I really believe.
Okay.
And that's that the Republican Party needs to get their head out of their asses about dumb shit that doesn't matter anymore, like gay marriage and abortion and these old things that old men are holding on to, because,
like, it's just too much water has gone down the river. Like,
well, they're just poisoning their well.
Yeah.
There is good stuff in the Republican Party. There's good things for people. There's good things, especially for business.
Yeah.
But, like, there's really good, important things in there, but it gets lost in the whole, well, if you are Republican, you are a misogynist piece of shit because you hate women. And that's like...
Yeah.
And it's hard to say, well, no, when you look at, like, what their thing is, it's like, oh yeah, women are, like, the worst. Like, it basically says shit like that in their stupid thing. Like,
in their platform, or...
Well, yeah, because they shouldn't have a right to choose, like, what they do with their body.
Yeah.
Like... Just get rid of the social shit.
There's a lot about the gender pay gap and stuff. There's dismissiveness.
Get rid of that social bullshit. Like, get into the new millennia here, where people are tolerant of each other, and let's just focus on how, like, we should run economies and certain, like, foreign policies and stuff like that. Let's not get into this gay marriage bullshit. Like, we've been beating our heads about that forever. We're done.
Like, at some point, arguments just be like, I think the wind has blown sufficiently in this direction.
Yeah.
But specifically, like, it's weird just with, sorry to tie it into entertainment, I guess, but I'm reading, Insomnia, which is a Stephen King book from 1994.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is centering on abortion issues. Like, it just seems like...
Did you see that movie?
There's a movie?
I think so.
Well, there's a movie called Insomnia, but it's about a serial killer.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, it's not the same story. This actually ties into Dark Tower and stuff. But that's what I'm talking about. Just that it's 1994 and it's talking about abortion because it was a hot topic then. But it just seems like, well, that was 22 years ago. Like that was a while ago.
You know what else was a hot topic then?
In 1994?
AIDS.
AIDS was, AIDS, 80s, 90s, yeah.
Like we need to get over these.
Like these things are old topics. This is the previous generation's baggage that they already sorted.
Yeah.
It does seem a little. That's the kind of fears that are being expressed about, like, oh man, it's going to regress, like we're going to backslide, we're going to go back. That's the thing where I was trying to.
Might be right.
I was trying to explain that, like, I was trying to articulate this in a conversation with my wife, Brittany, about, like, the pendulum swing. But I feel it was, like, it's a pendulum swing, but it's on a clock that is constantly moving forward in time, just because a variety of reasons. Like, but a lot of it is just people forgetting, or people just...
Did you come up with this thought alone?
I think so. I don't think I stole it.
Because that's really, really astute.
Okay.
Where, like, it's constantly moving.
So the pendulum is going to backswing, but now it doesn't. It's not going to go back to like 1860,
but it might go back to 1995.
It could go back to 1995. Right. Like that's the kind of thing, or like
Charles Barkley is going to be
post World War, like chest beating, pride stuff. Like maybe it'll even go back that far. Maybe some stuff might go back to the like 40s and 50s. You know, but it's not going to go back to the 1850s, you know? Like, it's just, it won't get there.
I mean, fuck, I hope so.
I don't think it can. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. That's where I'm like, maybe it's an optimism thing, maybe it's a naivety thing or whatever, but I just feel like that's kind of how I feel about it, is it's like, yes, this pendulum has, for it to be swinging at all, it's going to have to swing back, and there's going to be repercussions from that.
Yeah.
But in general, I think progress still just happens through virtue of time, marches on. People forget.
Right.
People don't know, like, exactly what it was like in the good old days because it's an abstract thing. You know? Like, a lot of, like, culture and stuff that I enjoy happens to be from, like, the 80s and 90s. But that's just because that was the stuff I was, like, seeing and that was forming standards for me when I was a kid. So it's just like, oh, well, this is great stuff because this is the stuff I saw and observed around me and whatever. But then you can still kind of, like, form some sort of appreciation for, like, further back stuff, but it's harder because it less resembles what's going on.
What you've known.
So it's just kind of, I don't know. I just feel like that way slow migration is still going to happen, but
sure.
I don't know. Maybe that's, it's a little hard. At least it's easier to articulate that than something I had here. So whatever. We'll just, let's pull it back into something completely different.
Would you consider Trump President Evil?
I like remember that Resident Evil 6 trailer.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, it's the president, and then immediately President Evil. I think Evil's, I don't know. I mean, I was making Greg Stilson jokes, but I don't think it's that severe.
I was making a segue.
Yeah. Okay. So that's not way too much. So, President Evil 6, have you killed the president? Like,
oh, dude, it's like the first thing that happens
in Leon's chapter.
Yeah.
Okay, because that takes place in the White House, right?
Yeah. That's kind of what kicks everything off. Is you play right after that cutscene. That's the intro cutscene.
Are you supposed to play Leon's chapter first?
It's the first in the like
left to right progression on the screen.
Well, no, like when you go to like which campaign do you want to play? It's like Leon, Chris, Jake, Ada.
So there's a default order.
Yeah.
So that was a while ago then. You dealt with that.
Oh, yeah.
Did you finish that game, or where were you guys at? Okay.
No, last weekend is when John's cat chewed through a cord.
Really?
Yeah. On his headset.
What is the cat's name again? I know it has one eye. Okay, Bagel or Naked Snake or whatever.
Big Boss.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but you're right. Naked Snake.
Essentially, yeah.
Naked Snake was his codename.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's right there. There's a statue of him right here on this table. We don't want to move it because it'll damage the audio.
Yeah.
But okay, so that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Chewed through the cable, so halted some progress a bit.
Yeah, so that's why we didn't last week. This week we can because he's doing a charity stream.
Okay.
On, like, we've been doing it Friday. So that... Okay, I'm just thinking the 11th, I guess?
Oh, yeah, so Remembrance Day up here.
Yeah, so...
AKA NES Classic Day.
Yeah, that's the day.
I'm looking forward to it.
That's fine.
But, yeah. So are you guys in Chris's campaign then?
We're done Chris's.
Done Chris's, so you're on Jake?
Jake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who is Wesker's son, is my understanding.
That's right.
But he's a good guy. Right? Or anti-hero?
A puckish rogue.
Okay.
Maybe.
But he's fighting on behalf of good humans everywhere, right?
I think he's fighting on behalf of himself, and that just seems to Align with President Trump. 2016.
He's just fighting for himself, man. He's his own party.
Yeah.
All right. How is that game?
It's like, real good.
It's really long, right?
It's really long.
Okay.
It's really long.
How is the inventory system the same as 5? Like, it keeps you in the action a lot? Oh, weird. Okay.
Well, it's weird because the inventory system...
I played a bit of it, but it's been a while.
It's kind of like a bar.
Okay.
You bring up. Almost like a task
like
bar
Dead Rising?
or something. I don't remember how Dead Risings is, but
sure. It's like you're shifting through everything in one big line of items.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you use like the left and right to go through your guns, and then the up and down to go through your items.
Okay, so that's a little more stuff than I think. Like Dead Rising is just one big line of inventory, but okay.
But you can still have,
at least as of 2, I can't
no
speak to
room
later
for
ones.
bullets.
Okay.
And that's annoying. It's still Resident Evil.
But, okay, so I've been playing a bit of Resident Evil 5, and something I've been kind of appreciating about just the level design, like, mentality, I guess, would just be kind of, the scarcity forces you to plunge into that environment, and run around through the whole environment.
Same thing in 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you're in this little village, and, oh crap, I only have 5 handgun bullets and 6 shotgun shells. I have to keep moving while combat is happening. And then you're slashing open barrels and getting stuff.
Yeah, and they push it a little bit further because you're going to want to explore the whole environment even when combat's done. Because you're going to look for skill points to upgrade your skills.
Is there still, like, gold and diamonds and trinkets and that kind of stuff?
To sell, you mean?
Yeah.
No.
There's no, like, you found a trophy or an onyx statue.
Well, yeah, but they give you skill points, and then now that buys just, like, upgrades.
So it's not money, it's skill points now?
Yeah. So skill points buy your upgrades for, like...
Do you buy
better
stuff
accuracy
in between chapters, like in 5? Okay,
okay.
So, I guess that largely sounds... Well, I mean, it's
the same thing, but instead of an item, it's a concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember back, because, like, 6 was the one where there was a big critical backlash. Like, people kind of did not like that game. It ended up somewhere in the high 60s, maybe low 70s on Metacritic, I think.
I think it deserves to be in the 70s.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of stuff. Like, have you had any issue with, like, the tightness of the field of view? Is it too close up to your character? Do you ever feel that way?
It's one of those things that I like a big field of view.
Okay.
And this game does not give you that, and I got used to it.
Okay. So it's something you kind of put up with, but it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love it. This is great.
Right.
Okay.
It's not terrible.
That you're actually playing it cooperatively is probably the best way to go.
It is 100... I would not have gotten this far.
Okay. Because I'm playing 5 solo for the first time I've done that. And Sheva's doing okay. Like, I'm not annoyed with the AI. It's generally fine.
Right.
But, yeah, I would assume a certain, like, camaraderie or something, like, would help a lot.
I feel you miss the experience. Those games are, I think, the design element is built around that you're going to be playing it with your friend.
Yeah, there's some tedium, to be sure, with, like, oh, well, I have to go pick up all of this stuff and then give it to her. Yeah. Or, order her to go down there to pull this other lever and then kind of wait while she runs all the way around, as opposed to, like, hey, you go down, I'll go up, and then it's just not a problem.
You just do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, little things like that have crept up where it's like, this would be smoother with a person there, but then the game would also probably be shorter. But that's something where I feel like 5's campaign is pretty fast-paced and not...
I'm pretty sure it scales, though.
The difficulty?
I think so.
Oh, maybe. To how well you're doing?
No, if you have a person.
Oh, maybe. Okay. I don't mean, like, that's what's slowing you down. I just mean generally, like, the pace of, like, it's a manic chase to get this dude, and then you're, okay, we got that dude, now we gotta go get this thing, and then it's over. Like, it's pretty straightforward. Whereas this is disparate stories, but do they all come up with some sort of, like, thing you're chasing after, or is it,
there are great parts, actually. One of the first ones I remember is you're going through, like, this old church with Leon and Helena, and you're both, like, there's, like, it splits up into 2 paths, and you can see each other through them, And, like, you're both doing stuff on your own side, but every now and then you might have to, like, look over and, like,
snipe a dude off somebody or something.
Yeah, exactly. It does a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
Very cooperative.
So it's designed with co-op levels in mind.
Like, there are some parts, almost maybe to its detriment, if you're playing a certain character. There are parts where, like, I might just be standing there with Leon and expecting John to just, like, make sure he gets all the, like, dudes that are coming after me as I'm, like, moving a crank or something.
Okay.
So, it could be a detriment, I could see, if you're playing with, like, an idiot or somebody with a bad connection or something.
Mm.
Or it's somebody who likes to troll you and you're just not making progress because they're like, well, I'm not going to help.
I would actually assume a lot of critics would have played it single player.
Yeah.
Which would probably
that's
be
not the way to play it.
Part of the detrimental. But a lot of the, like, I know it's the critical kind of consensus out there, which you disagree with, is like the 4 is the high watermark for a lot of people. Like, that was a really critically beloved game. So maybe they're kind of wanting that single player experience.
I probably should make this more clear when I talk about 4.
Okay.
Because I was old enough to, like, I already liked Resident Evil when that came out.
Yeah.
It was the reason I bought a GameCube at the time.
Yeah.
That game, when it came out, was revolutionary. Mm-hmm. It just was. It was a new thing that they were trying, and you overlooked a lot of its glaring problems because it was of the time. The things weren't in HD yet. They weren't at 60 frames per second. Like,
yeah.
And game design was kind of shitty because it's not... Game design...
I'm trying to think, like, what third-person shooters of the era, but, okay. Like, I mean, I like Max Payne and stuff, but
I mean, this was
a certain...
Like, to put it in perspective, this was before Gears of War came out.
It is, yeah.
And, like, Gears of War made huge strides for everybody in, like, how a game like that should maybe be played.
Yeah. If there's one thing I really appreciate about Resident Evil 4 still, is the laser sight thing. Like, it just kind of keeps you... Like, it's not as... glaring as a reticle, you know? It's like, oh, that's some fake HUD crap. Like, it just looks shitty, you know? Whereas it's like, oh, well, this is in the world. Right. Like, there's less barrier to everything is game. Like, the kind of no HUD dream or whatever.
Sure, no.
Like there still is a HUD, actually. Like, it's your ammo and health and stuff is in the corner, but that it kind of pares down one more thing was kind of, I appreciated that. So, I don't know.
The problem I have with that game is that playing it now, it feels very much like the disjointed, like, step sibling or something, where it's like Resident Evil was making a change, an evolution, or whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
And they didn't know how to do it yet. So they were trying a few things, some of them stuck, some of them didn't, and overall that game didn't hold up as well, because it didn't do any real thing well. It just did a bunch of, like, just did a group of things well and a group of things very bad. It didn't do just, like, a consistent thing.
Like, there's no one quality that is so stellar, it still makes it a standout thing right now?
No,
not
to me.
Yeah. I mean, I did play through it recently for points, largely.
Did you finish it, then?
I did finish it. It's, yeah.
What was the point on your first session of it that you were like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore?
It was somewhere in the castle.
Of course it was.
I left off, yeah.
The castle...
Like, when I loaded it up, it was just before the knights, like, the armor suits that attack you.
Sure.
But, yeah.
That's where I started getting tired, too, actually.
Just pacing issue, or...
I really believe that the castle has some really good... environment work in it.
Yeah.
It has some really good horror ideas of, like, the enemy just kind of chanting and, like, this weird creepy cult thing.
Yeah.
But they went too hardcore with parts where Ashley is running around doing something and you're sniping 20 dudes. Mm-hmm. Or, like, I don't know.
Or she was in that Armor Knight's room and it was annoying.
The Armor Knight's
kind of like,
room,
go over there. Okay, wait. Yeah. All right, turn around. All right, they're already on top of me. Run. Follow me. Like, it was really stilted and stiff and weird. Yeah, and I mean, it was.
I think the thing a lot of people forget, too, when they think about that game, everybody says they hate an escort mission.
Yeah.
That whole game is actually an escort mission where you can kill the thing you're escorting and fail.
Large stretches of it. She goes away for big portions of it, too. like where she's captured again or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But I mean, the whole story of that game is an escort
is rescue the president's daughter.
But
so yeah.
But more importantly, it's just
like go find that escort mission so you can escort.
Do you know how many times I got a failure state because a dude picked her up and started taking her away, and I shot her out of with a shotgun?
Oh,
like because I was trying to shoot the guy.
Yeah. Okay. In that respect, like 5 has none of that. I don't believe. Like, and Sheva is ducking out of the way,
totally
and fighting,
confident.
And you can actually toggle whether there's friendly fire or not.
Yep.
So,
I mean, the AI is still kind of stupid, but it's AI. They're all stupid.
It's never going to be amazing, but
right.
Yeah. So, okay, I guess we're talking about like the evolution of the Resident Evil shooters. Okay, so do 5? Okay, 5 does not. It still has the plant your feet aim kind of thing. Does 6 have running and gunning or no?
6 has moving and gunning.
It does?
Yeah.
That's pretty great. So can you back up while shooting and stuff? Oh, well, that's a totally different game then.
It is.
Like,
it's an action game.
Okay.
It is very much not a survival horror game.
Okay. Does it still have the ammo scarcity forcing you to explore the environment stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And
it doesn't. The thing is, I don't feel like it has ammo scarcity so much as it has ammo that stacks up to maybe 50 bullets, and then another stack will be 50, so you can fill up your space with a certain ammo.
Yeah.
And then you'll get into a boss fight, which are ammo sponges. Use up all that ammo, now you have no ammo for the rest of your guns, because...
Because that's all you were able
Say, like,
to
I had 5 stacks of, like, rifle bullets and 2 stacks of, like, I don't know, submachine gun or something, right?
Yeah.
I just wasted all of them on, like, this big boss fight or whatever, and I want to use my shotgun or something now, but I can't pick up that ammo over there for the shotgun because I have to use up this ammo first or something.
Yeah, there's actually been some weird like swapping and combining and like kind of strange moments happening.
So
in
that
5
that
even,
problem's still there.
Okay,
so it's still Resident Evil in that way.
Great.
Yeah.
Like okay, so 7 is looking to change everything.
Totally.
Like it's a first person. I don't know if PT is the comparison exactly, but the demo seemed to very much be aware of like a smaller, detailed environment where scary stuff's going to jump at you, but you're not really shooting at all as far as
we know.
In that portion anyway. Like obviously the game would be bigger. Are you okay? I know you don't like the Outlast model.
I don't
of horror stuff. Do you feel that's what this is,
yeah,
or is it kind of like I don't know if. I guess I'm still curious to see it because, like, I would hope they still understand a portion of like what the Resident Evil like ethos is. Like, Silent Hill was always more spooky than fighting. Like, the combat is less featured. Like, so the early Resident Evils still had a lot of combat.
So
but
how would you feel if you played a Silent Hill game that had like
Uzis in it?
A mechanic where you would like hide behind cover and shoot monsters that are constantly coming at you.
Like that would be kind of a big change to what
it
so
would
it's just like, oh, this isn't what I was looking for.
It would be divisive.
Yeah.
You might get the people that like Gears of War and Horde modes and stuff that
but why
all of a
are
sudden
you doing that?
love Silent Hill.
Which that seemed to be sort of what like Dead Space was doing.
Yep.
Is it like started as like, oh, scary monsters, and then it became more and more shoot the scary monsters, which eventually becomes sort of indistinguishable from Gears of War and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know what to like. I wouldn't say I'm like keenly excited about 7.
I need to know. I do need to see more of it.
There's things to be like. Okay, at least they're trying something different. You know,
there is at least a monster of some sort.
Okay,
that's not just like a human or a crazy dude. It's like this weird gooey monster that people have been talking about on the subreddit.
Okay. Like, I know 6 ended up actually selling quite a few copies.
It did.
So
that's why a lot of people were pissed off about it.
Okay.
Because a lot of people didn't get what they thought they were getting, I guess.
Okay. I was about to say, like, well, it sold a bunch of copies, so I don't really know why Capcom feels they need to change it. But how have the Revelations games, have those been doing well? Or?
They've been doing fine, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
The Revelations 2 is weird because it was episodic. And I don't think...
Did they release it that way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't think a lot of people enjoyed that. Like Resident Evil. I think they like people that like Resident Evil like to buy a product and then be able to play through the game and then play through it again to unlock stuff or get faster at it. I think it has that community. I don't think it has a community that cares about getting drip-fed a story over a month or two.
No, that doesn't
they very
really
much
appeal
want,
to what I think of.
They very much want the story and, like, I don't know, just weird things jumping out at you and seeing, like, how far this rabbit hole of BOWs goes.
BOWs?
Bioorganic weapons.
Oh, okay. They're throwing a lot of new, shorthand, like, was it the BBSA or something? Like, in 5, there's stuff that's not just like, BSA. Stars. There's, like, new ones. Yeah. It's just like, I don't remember what that is. And, like, Tricell and stuff like this. There's, like, new companies that aren't Umbrella, but are basically
well, I mean, they're, like, terrorist organizations and stuff. Basically, yeah.
I mean, so 7's obviously going to have to be related to some of that. It just looks like it's kind of like a smaller, more intimate... Yeah. Way of doing that. So you're in a house again.
It's been confirmed that it's related. Yeah. And there's rumors going around that it might be related to, I'm trying to remember what character it is from the other games. Fuck, I can't remember.
Ashley.
No, it was one of the kids. And I'm not good with, like, the kids' names and stuff. Sherry's older already.
It's just all grown up.
Fuck. I'd have to look it up.
Which ones have kids in them? Prominently. I don't remember one. Okay. I'm
just trying to remember all of them. Moira was... Not Moira. Moira is Barry's kid. What the hell was that kid's name in Revelations 2?
I don't know. I can't help you.
Fair enough.
Helena. You mentioned someone named Helena. I didn't know who that was.
She's not a kid.
Okay. I heard she was, though. She was a kid.
I mean, we're all kids at one point.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Sorry. Resident Evil. So I never played through all of Outlast and stuff, but so not to another game is Dark Corners of the Earth, the Call of Cthulhu game.
Yep.
For me, that game has a cool kind of progression where there is a portion of the game where you're fleeing in terror and everything's scary, but you do get a gun at one point. Like, you get to turn the tides.
It pretty early.
It's not even that, but there's a whole section where you're just running from crazy people in Lovecraft Town. I forget what it was called. But whatever. Greenvale? Something. If Resident Evil 7 has some sort of, like, tone shift partway through...
Yeah.
Would that be kind of... like, because, like...
It very well could.
I don't know. That there's potential there for it to be really, like, it having a smaller scale thing, you're overwhelmed, there's crazy monsters and stuff, and then there's a moment where you get to turn the tide and it becomes a Resident Evil game.
There's
kind of thing.
Nobody knows, except for the people that made the game,
yeah,
that at some point you don't open the wine cellar and find an umbrella symbol and then go into a lab. Like, we don't know.
Sure.
They could totally have that, and that could totally be fine. But for me, Resident Evil has never been the game where I'm looking around in terror and, like, picking up items, like, out of, like, drawers and stuff, and then, like, running away from the monster and hiding or something.
Yeah.
It's never been about that.
There's, like, reading scary notes, and I don't know.
In Resident Evil, you're always basically a trained person sent to, like, do a job or to try to survive or escape. You're a SWAT team member.
Cop,
you're ex-army. You're a cop. Yeah.
Rookie cop, but...
Rookie cop.
Anyway, yeah. Or sure, you're some sort of elite unit that's trained to deal with it, so, yeah.
Well, you're trained at least to fire a gun.
Sure.
Let's just,
like... you're still in over your heads, because what's going on here is crazier than it should be, but...
Except for Claire. I think she just had a troubled childhood. Although when you're Chris's sister, you probably, like, go to the... precinct.
I just remember that weird cutscene at the beginning of,
Resident Evil 2?
No, Code Veronica, where she's running and there's a helicopter shooting at her and all this kind of crazy Matrix business. And it's just like, okay, cool. And,
she became a pretty skilled person pretty quick, I guess.
Okay, brief tangent. The movies.
Yeah, I love them.
Okay, good. Because there's a new one coming out in January.
I'm so
and I'm going to see it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The final chapter, I think, is actually what it's called.
So... I mean, they give me entertainment I want. Like that they even roll in some kind of monster design stuff from some of the games. Like, I remember one where it's like, there's essentially the giant executioner dudes with axes.
That's the 3D one.
Yeah. And it's just like...
It's great.
Great.
Yeah.
Why not? So, okay.
Yeah.
Medieval fantasy. That's what I have on here.
Okay, medieval fantasy, yep. Resident Evil 8.
Maybe, if they, 7, change of direction. It's like, hey, castles are scary.
Resident Medieval.
Let's go for... I still love it every time I hit start and the guy says Resident Evil in his dopey voice, because it's super dumb.
And it's like a little bit...
Resident Evil.
It's a different...
That he says the number.
It's a different, dude
4.
every time, too.
Is it? But it's always somebody going for the same thing.
Also, Resident Evil 6, draft blowjob, you can never unsee it.
I know.
It's the worst. Anyway.
Is it supposed to be like cobwebs or something?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the only reason medieval fantasy stuff is I was talking about Dragon Age and trying to kind of articulate why I don't find it very fun. Something with the combat system, it feels like I'm not a Diablo person.
Right.
But there's something where it still feels very like you are making animations happen that you are then watching happen. Right. You're not fighting. Like you're like, it's like, well, that dwarf on the screen is hitting that monster with an axe, but I'm not doing that.
So you don't like XCOM games or tactics games? I
don't get sucked in to
That's
them
fair.
very much.
Then you won't like Dragon Age Origins because a lot of the thing that is fun about that game is...
Like, you got your party and, like, they're all attacking and everything, but there was moments where I was just like, okay, we're dealing with this horde of enemies, and I really just don't feel like I did anything just now. Like, it all just kind of played out. Because, like, they arrive, it aggroes your party, they fight them, they kill the monsters, and it just kind of
You need a higher difficulty level, then.
I'm at normal difficulty.
Right.
Which, yeah, like, once it got to kind of...
Because isn't there, like, 3 difficulty levels above normal?
Oh, is there another one?
I feel like there's, like, hard,
There might be some sort of, like, purist, like, old school RPG, like, insane or brutal or something. I feel they'd use the word brutal, and I don't know why. But, yeah, it's...
Like Doom. Brutal Doom.
Yeah, the stuff I was enjoying was still, like, it's kind of the first RPG which gives you dialogue choices where I finally decided to be a dick.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
It just seemed to fit the... Like, this is just a blood-spattered, like, savage place, and I have people in my party kind of egging me into certain directions.
Right.
Where it's just like, why are we wasting our time with this? Just hit that person or whatever. Like, there's a certain, like, aggressive tone. It's Morrigan.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to not have Morrigan in my party. I did give her a different outfit, though, because it was distracting. What was going on?
I do think...
It was just...
That Morrigan
character design
is
stuff.
The best written... woman in a game.
Okay.
Because I never understand what she actually wants me to do.
It's just like, well, she really disapproved with that, so I'll give her a trophy?
Every time I thought I understood, like, where she was coming from, because she said a snarky remark or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, check out this, like, head or something. Here's a clip. And then she's like, whoa. What are you doing? It's like, I thought you liked... I thought you were morbid like that. I'm like the cat that brings in the dead gopher and then looks at you.
It's like, is this right? Getting mad? Is this what you wanted?
I thought this is what you wanted.
A mangled carcass?
Yeah.
I thought... Witches! I thought you'd think that was funny.
Right. But no, she doesn't like that at all.
Okay. So, there was this kind of... demon-infested town and all this kind of crazy stuff. Yeah. Long story short, and I've already articulated elsewhere, I killed a kid. And the game let me kill a kid, which I thought was crazy. Normally in any RPG, I would go to any lengths to do the good option. Yeah. Like, it's just like, no, okay, yeah, we're going to do the blood magic, or we're going to...
you straight murder him.
Yeah, it's just like...
You can. Anyway.
I punched the mother in the face and then stabbed her son with a knife. And it was so crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, something about just the main beats of how the action plays out in that. Like, there's a lot of talking, and then... when you finally get to do stuff, there's that kind of still not fully engaged thing I'm talking about with the action, the way it feels. So, I don't know. Just looking at some other games that kind of came to mind when we were talking about that, you were saying Inquisition kind of goes in a, like, more open world side quest, like...
They build on the world
getting distracted and wandering off onto various paths.
It's one of the things that, the problem I had, and I think a lot of people had with one, is that, I don't know if you've noticed it yet with how much you've played.
Yeah.
But you're kind of like, going to a map and then choosing where you're going.
Yeah.
And then, like...
It's very, like, there's kind of set tracks.
And there's, like, maybe a random battle every now and then when you go
it's
through
like,
a certain
some
area.
bandits intercepted you, and they killed you. And I stopped playing. That happened last time.
Okay.
But it's like, I just killed this powerful demon boss, and then, like, a crew of bandits murdered me. And it was just like,
right.
I don't care. I'm glad I saved. But okay, yeah. So you got this overworld, and you're selecting stuff.
Yeah, and Inquisition
2, I heard, recycles the same city a lot.
Yeah.
So you're spending, like, all your time in one area? Was the big issue?
2 really feels like... Do you remember in, like... SNES and, like, Final Fantasy VII and stuff like that, where every time you would go to a random battle, if you were in, like, a certain area, it would be the same background all the time. Yeah. Even though, like, the enemies would change. It felt like that.
But aren't you just encountering enemies in the overworld?
Like, we're talking about 2, right?
Yeah, Dragon Age 2. Or are you going into battle screens?
It's... Yeah.
I've heard a lot of, like, negative... like sentiment out there towards 2, but I still don't know the thing that intrigues me about it is I also heard it makes the action more like 1-to-1 maybe, or just, you said streamlined. Yeah. But when I press A, does my guy swing his sword or whatever? Like, is it more connected to the action than 1 feels? Because 1 feels like a cue. You just can't see it, but it's like, my guy is going to do his axe attack, and then I'll press this one button, and he'll do his shield thing. But it's, like, triggering stuff as opposed to
you see, like, on their portrait what they're going to do.
In 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's kind of a cue.
Yeah, well, sure. So there is a cue. I don't want cues. I want to stab stuff with my sword. I want Dead Rising. I want Dark Souls or whatever.
I don't think you want Dragon Zelda. Age.
Okay.
Just straight up.
That sucks, because... I don't mind, like, okay, the storytellers behind games I like are doing a medieval thing, that's fine, but the mode they've chosen is not.
Maybe you just want, like, something different than I want from Dragon Age, though.
Okay.
Because what I wanted from Dragon Age is, I never felt, even though I had one character, and then, like, I played through his origins, when you get to a part where you have a party, I played 4 or 5 characters. I didn't play just one. I didn't want to sit and play with one dude.
I keep kind of not feeling like I should be everybody. Like, I'm just like, no, I'm that dwarf.
Oh, see, no, I wanted that. I was like, no, so I'm controlling everything.
Whenever a party member levels up, I auto-level them. Because that's their decisions.
Fuck. No, I don't do
like,
that. Like,
Morgan is doing Morgan's thing. I don't know.
What does she do when you auto-level her?
I've just been pressing Y, man. I don't know. Like, I'm not engaging with all of it, I guess, but it feels like, no, what are you doing? I am Krasnor the dwarf, and I have my own thing I'm doing.
Right.
Let these people do whatever. Like, I don't know.
I don't think what you want is the strong points of these games.
Okay. I guess this game comes from a legacy of, like, Neverwinter Nights and stuff. Like, what is BioWare's old school cred? Because that's what they're iterating on, right? They've done medieval fantasy before. Gate. Okay.
I think.
I thought the first Neverwinter was them, too.
They did Neverwinter.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I think they also did Baldur's Gate. I don't remember.
Are these D&D derivative stuff? Or?
Well, hold on.
Because, like, some of their 90s titles...
BioWare did a lot of work for other companies before they started doing their own stuff.
Yeah. I mean, even stuff that they're well regarded for, like, KOTOR is LucasArts.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, they did a lot of stuff that with the Wizards of the Coast, who are the D&D people. For people that don't know who Wizards of the Coast are, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. I was hearing a lot of that when this game came out, and was just like, oh yeah, no, I love this as an old, BioWare fan or whatever. But it's just like, okay, I like Mass Effect and KOTOR. Like, is this going to have anything for me? And it I don't know. I'm finding it challenging. It's difficult for me to appreciate. Okay, so stuff we have on here, I was saying Inquisition is more open. We didn't quite get to that. So, like, the map thing, the limited city stuff, or whatever 2 is doing. Inquisition does what?
Inquisition feels like an upgraded version of Origins on a bigger scale, with some, like, army building stuff.
Which that's what the story seems to be telling me anyway, is that go to this guy, recruit these people to be in your army, go to these guys.
The way you're talking about these games, you actually might like 2 quite a bit.
Okay.
There's a good chance you'll like a lot of what 2 does.
I don't like the idea of just skipping, but I might have to. I don't know.
Right.
I have it. Like, I have Dragon Age 2 sitting there as well, but, yeah.
I mean, who doesn't?
I don't know. A lot of people.
Okay.
I think it's the worst, like, performing one of the three.
Yeah.
I don't know. Skyrim's on here because I feel like since Skyrim came out, Inquisition came out, and maybe it reacted some to that, but I don't know if that's fair to say. I didn't get very far in that one. I tried loading it up.
In what regard? Oh, yeah,
just the open world stuff and this kind of like
side missions and stuff and
breadcrumbs going off all over the place.
Sure.
Check out that cave. What's in there? And that kind of attitude towards designing a world. I still like Skyrim in that it just has that one-to-one, like, I hit the thing with my club, I shot an arrow at that guy. Like, there's just kind of a direct connection to what's going on.
Right.
And then I've loaded up Witcher 2 and kind of bounced off of it.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Because, like, I was, like, sufficiently intrigued that people were saying really, really positive stuff about the Witcher games for a while.
Uh-huh.
And then Witcher 2 was mad cheap on Steam several times. And at one point I was like, sure, okay, let's check this out.
Reign of Kings?
Assassin might be in the title, I thought. Kings is in there.
Okay.
But, okay.
Assassin Kings?
Assassin of Kings.
Yeah.
The King Killer.
The King Killer.
Chronicles.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's a different thing.
The KKK. The King Killer.
No, there is...
Clan.
I didn't mean to do that, but there is a series of books. Anyway, Witcher... So, yeah, Witcher 2 I found just... I don't like what's happening right now.
Then don't get any of the others.
Because 3 was the one everybody was like...
The way you describe how you like to play games...
Yeah.
If you didn't like 2, you're not going to like 3.
Okay.
And you will actually hate 1 a lot.
What does the combat feel like in that, though? Is
in
it
1?
Like,
terrible.
Okay. Well, and what about in 3, the one everybody liked? Is it like...
I mean,
I pressed the button and that guy... And Geralt stabbed that dude in the face when I pressed that button. And it was rad.
No, it's more like a... I don't know, like a Devil May Cry or something. Like...
Oh, okay.
That you can still get parried as...
So he hit that guy in the air and then he shot him with crossbows. Juggled him in the air.
Right, yeah. No, like, you swing your sword and, like, the enemy can block it or move away or whatever. You don't just, like, push a button to kill a dude.
Are you juggling, like, several guys?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, like, Arkham Combat, basically.
Okay.
Guys coming at you.
The thing I was seeing when I... Like, a friend of mine was playing The Witcher 3 and I was kind of looking at it. It looks very... I don't know. Like, the way the villagers and stuff were animating, it looks very, like, window dressing, but you can't stab that guy. Kind of thing. Like Skyrim looks janky, but you can club that guy, you know? Whereas this is like, well, look at these elaborate animation routines that this shopkeeper is doing. It's like, okay, but can you stab that guy? It's like, no, I'm in a village right now. I can't do that. Or something. Like, there's kind of like a, oh, well, this isn't interactive. Like, you're just kind of walking around looking at pretty things. But
then what you want is Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. It's true. I always want that.
Yeah.
Why can't Rockstar just make a
good
medieval game? Yeah.
A medieval game?
Yeah, just steal Blizzard's launch or something.
That would actually be kind of impressive. I'd like to see them try.
Yeah. And they got that cowboy game.
They can barely make a fucking cowboy game. Jesus Christ. I just want it on PC already. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You played it though, right? You had to have. Redemption.
Redemption, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I never played Revolver though.
Yeah, I have it, but yeah.
Okay.
It's so tenuously connected anyway. I think it wasn't a Capcom. Like, I think ultimately it wasn't even developed in-house exactly. I don't know.
Sure. Probably.
Anyway, okay. So yeah, after these games here, I have what you want, and I don't know.
Okay.
I think I want Skyrim of these ones, but I don't want the Skyrim remake because apparently it's glitchy and terrible.
Yeah,
that's what I've been hearing.
If you had it on Steam, you have it for free.
Oh, okay. And I did have it on Steam. Did I need to have it and all the DLC or something?
Or the enhanced edition. No, not enhanced edition. The Game of the Year edition or whatever.
Oh, I don't know.
Whatever the version was.
I might have gotten it too early then. I don't know.
I mean, I don't have the enhanced edition.
Okay.
But I also have a PC, so I can just install mods.
You know, if I ever pop Skyrim in again, it's honestly been like, I'll just play 360 version. It was the dumbest thing ever, but I just want those achievements. And I already have my character on there that I spent a lot of time with. So,
yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, there you go. That's a game an hour.
I think that's a podcast.
Probably. I'm trying to think if there's some cool kind of closeout thing, but didn't we ask some sort of weird question last week about hunger strikes or something? Did anybody bother replying to our weird, tired rant about that?
No.
Yeah.
Because I totally forgot about that.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have if anybody had.
All right. So I was really tired last time, but also I stand by everything I said.
Yeah, that's...
And maybe you don't know if I was challenging, is Mahatma Gandhi the man great, or is that movie great? I felt I left it ambiguous enough, so...
Right.
Maybe I was questioning the
movie.
movie.
So you're safe.
So I'm safe, yeah. I was hidden behind a veil of ambiguity. So,
all right.
And I have this, see, there's a real veil here, and it's a handkerchief. Yeah. Anyway, that's how we close out podcast. You start talking about stuff in the room. So, see you guys next time on the Pixel Response Barrel.
Make sure to go to burningbarrel.co/pixelresponse. These are affiliated links.
Yeah. The Spaghetti Barrel.
Yeah. Bye.
Dev Talks. What was that show called?
Indie Talks.
Okay.
Go watch Indie Talks. Now I'm clicking the button.